friends, this is Tina Von Hatten here from Under 3 Acres, and today I'm going to show you how to make dandelion jelly. Dandelion is a really simple, frugal way to use up those weeds that adorn our lawns. We have tons of them here, and last year I was going to make dandelion jelly, but I knew the previous owner sprayed, and I wasn't sure if they sprayed dandelions. So you're going to want to use and collect dandelions in a place where it's not sprayed, and also an area that's not frequented by dogs. We have a dog, and I know that they walk him and play with him out here where there's lots of dandelions, but there's a patch behind my garden that we have, and that's where we picked our dandelions, because other than deer, the dog hasn't been back there. So we picked a bunch of dandelions, getting back to the recipe, and then we made this dandelion tea. So you're gonna need 2 cups of dandelion petals, and you're gonna want to take all the green off. You just need the petals, and then you measure that, and you put 2 cups of those petals in a quart-sized jar like this one here, and then you pour 4 cups of boiling water over top. So you just basically fill it up, and then you let it cool, and then I put a lid on it and put it in the fridge and let it sit for 24 hours. Now that was a couple of days ago. It's been really great weather, so I was out in my garden, but today it's not so nice, so here we are making our jelly. So you can do that. You drain it off, and when you're draining off your dandelion petals, you're gonna wanna use a sieve and then squeeze out all those petals. You need 3.5 to 4 cups of the liquid to get started. So what you need to do next is pour that in a pot here. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Now, for canning, I like to use the bottled lemon juice because I know that it has a decent amount of citric acid in it, and I don't have to make sure I have lemons on hand. There we go. 2 of those. It's that simple. And then you're going to need a box of pectin. I have Cerdo here, but we're in Canada. There's also Bernard in here and a few other ones, but it's basically 57 grams. I believe that's the 2 or 3 ounces. I'm not sure. I'll pop the conversion up in when I do the editing there. So that's all you need to put in it for now. We're going to bring this to a boil. In the meantime, you're going to want to wash your 1/2 pint jars. Now this was left over from the first batch. I'm going to throw this in a little bit to reheat it. It makes 5.5 1/2 pint jars, so 5.5 of these jars. But since I knew I was doing 2 batches, I just put it in that jar, and I'm going to dump it back in the pot. I'm just sterilizing my jars here. I want to fill them with water and bring them to a boil. And by the time I'm ready to use them, they'll be sterilized. So you want to stir in your pectin, your lemon juice, and your dandelion tea. And you're going to bring it to a boil. You don't have to stir it the whole time. I like to stir until all the pectin has dissolved. So while I'm waiting for this to come to a boil, I got all of my things ready. You're gonna need 4 cups of sugar. I use organic cane sugar when I can. You're gonna need a funnel, your jar lifter, magnet, your measuring stick, and I like to use boiling water and put all my rings and lids in there and just have it ready for when I'm ready to pour this up. And I like to have a big ladle all ready so I'm not scrambling once this is boiling. Once your mixtures come to a boil, we're going to add the sugar. I like to pre-measure, it just makes it that much easier. Plus I have my bulk 5-gallon bucket of sugar in the basement. That way I just measure what I need in a bowl and bring it up. We're just gonna mix this in until it dissolves and let it come to a boil again. So I'd mentioned that I had some jelly left over from the first batch, and since it cools down, I wanted to bring it up to heat again. So I'm gonna pour that in here now. You can see it's gelled. So the reason I added it is after the sugar has dissolved and before it comes to a boil, is because I figured that might be the best time to add it when it's at the right consistency. Now it'll all blend in. And then I'm not wasting it. I know now that I have to have extra jars for this batch. The reason I'm making a couple batches is because we're a large family. In case you've never been here before, we're a family of 10. And I make a lot of our food from scratch and I preserve as much as possible. I have celiac disease. One of my kids has celiac disease and a couple other have food allergies. So it's really important to us that our food is safe to eat and avoid all the cross-contamination and ingredients that are not safe for some of us. In case you didn't know, most jams and jellies have dextrose or glucose fructose in it, and that is often derived from corn. So if you have a corn allergy, then most of the off-the-counter or over-the-counter, or whatever you want to call it, jams and jellies are not safe to eat for people with issues with corn. So we're finally boiling here after adding the sugar. So I'm gonna put the timer on for 2 minutes and we're gonna let it boil. I'm gonna try to fill these up as quickly as possible here. They need a 1/4 inch headspace. Dandelions are actually very good for you. They have high amounts of vitamin A, C, and K. They also contain iron and magnesium. They're really good for aiding in digestion and removing acne and things like that. They're also a muscle relaxant. I will be making some dandelion salve. I soak some of the petals in some oil and I'm going to be using that to add to my magnesium lotion. I'm going to add that to my magnesium lotion because magnesium can irritate your skin if you have really dry skin, or if you're lacking in magnesium, it will itch when you put it on. So I've been reading up that adding a little bit of dandelion infused oil will solve that problem. So I'm infusing some so I can make another batch of magnesium oil in the future. So if you're interested in that, leave a comment below and be sure to hit the bell and be notified for when I bring out new videos. I'm always bringing out new videos on all things homesteading, gardening, DIY, and of course canning. If you haven't already, you should check out my other canning videos, my coleslaw video, and the chicken wing sauce that I made last summer is a huge hit around here. And I will be bringing out lots more canning videos as the year progresses. Shortly, hopefully, the lilacs will be in full bloom. They're not quite here, even though it's the end of May and most people that lilacs are spent. I will be making some lilac jelly, and later in the summer I will be showing you how to make some peony jelly. All of these are just from things foraged on the property here and are easy for people to access. So even when there are food shortages and those kinds of things, you won't have to do without. As long as you can get your hands on a little bit of sugar and a little bit of pectin, you'll be good. So it didn't quite fill the last little jar that I had here, but that's okay. I'll just put a lid on that and we can put that in the fridge. But I'm going to process the rest of these. By the way, I didn't mention you need to wipe your rims. I'm going to process the rest of these for, if I lived in a normal altitude, 10 minutes, but I don't. I have to process mine longer. I will leave a link below to find out your altitude so that you can know how long you have to process them. You need an inch of water over the top of the jar. It doesn't look like it if you actually look in the pot here. It doesn't look like it's an inch, but here on my handy dandy tool, there's an inch marking right here. And if I just set it on top of the jar here, you'll see it's actually about 1 1/4 inches above the jars, and that's okay. It needs to be at least an inch minimum to make sure that we get the seal that was saved in the can in here. And then you bring them to a boil and you start your timer when the jars have come to a boil, and then you keep it at a rolling boil until your time is up. So it will be 10 minutes plus whatever your altitude is. And I hope you enjoy it. And in case you're wondering what it actually tastes like, I had 2 of my kids taste this and they were confused because it tastes like honey with a hint of lemon in it. And they were like, one of my kids was like, my brain's confused. This shouldn't taste like this. They didn't expect it to taste like honey at all, but it does. They call it poor man's honey in some circles, and I'll go with that. It tastes really good. I was thinking this might taste nice in tea, actually. Especially, I guess, if you had a bit of a tummy ache, you could take a little bit of this in there as a digestive aid. I'm just trying to fit all of these in here so I don't have to run the canner twice. And I'm glad that you guys stopped by today to make some dandelion jelly with me. If you make some, let me know how it turns out and what you think. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye. It's jelly. You want to try it? Skeptical? Have you ever eaten dandelions before? Is it bad?
It's like honey.
It is like honey. Will you eat it again?
Tastes like jello. Yeah.
I made it a lot.
No, that's fine. It tastes good.
Alright. You want more?
That's confusing. I don't know.